The NFL and NFLPA, in a joint statement released today, said there is no evidence of targeting or any other impropriety regarding Eric Reid's selection for drug testing this season. Quote, "We take any claim questioning the integrity of our collectively bargained performance-enhancing drug policy seriously. We ask the independent administrator of the policy to review and produce a report on the claims of targeting. A copy of this report, which contains personal and confidential testing information, has been provided to Eric Reid. We will not breach any player's confidentiality, but can confirm that the report documents the dates he was randomly selected for testing and the actual dates of the drug tests. The report also demonstrates that Mr. Reid's tests were randomly generated via computer algorithm and that his selection for testing was normal when compared with the number of tests players were randomly selected for throughout the league during the time he was on the active roster. There is no evidence of targeting or any other impropriety with respect to his selection for testing." Max?
Yeah.
What's your reaction to all this?
They didn't find evidence. Okay. I don't know if they look to see if the algorithm was overridden at any time. There could be a digital footprint. If they did, then in fact, sometimes unlikely events occur. In fact, unlikely events occur all the time. People get struck by lightning. And it's not quite on that level. It's something like 1 in 10,000, not 1 in a million. But it's a highly unlikely event that there wasn't some collusion here. But okay, if there wasn't collusion, there wasn't collusion. What about the fact that Eric Reid, who is at minimum, a solid starter at his position when he couldn't get a job? Why didn't he get a job? Like in other words, in the bigger picture, the idea that he didn't get a job or that they haven't been able to find collusion in ongoing, in Kaepernick's case. So that suggests that they're not communicating with each other. That may be worse in a way. Because, and I know I'm expanding this to talk about collusion more broadly, but it may be worse because what it identifies, what it suggests, is that there is such a lack of diversity among ownership that not only do they not put any kind of social justice issue ahead of their own bottom line, but none of them consider or conclude, none of them, that in fact it may be in their best financial interest. Like, look at what happened to Nike stock, right? Like, it may be in their best financial interest to pander to one group instead of another. All 32 owners want to pander to the same group, which represents at this point a minority in terms of voters, for example. That, to me, is part of why Eric Reid and Kaepernick were protesting in the first place. That issue exists because owners come from a pool of billionaires. There aren't a lot of African-American billionaires, and that's not the result of some innate kind of inferiority. That's the result of the legacy of slavery in this country. I mean, really. And that's essentially, in the big picture, what they're protesting, inequality. And that inequality results in their being excluded from the league. So not only do I find this hard to believe, but it's possible, it makes me think of the bigger picture.
Damien, I have one question for you before you react to this. So he was tested 7 times in 11 weeks, Eric Reid, when he was with the Panthers. Is that normal as a former player?
It is, actually. Okay. I remember specifically for me, that happened, I got tested probably like 10 times in a season during the regular season. So I can understand where people are coming from, especially given the fact that the whole lawsuit and the protests and all those type of things. But I can just say from personal experience, being in the league for 12 years, I actually experienced a point in time where I was tested multiple times for PEDs throughout a season.
Let me say this. Let me simplify this for everybody, please, because it ain't that damn complicated to me. Number one, I was told by some folks within the NFL that they were questioning whether or not he was tested as many times as he says he was being tested. I believe in taking the man at his word. I find Eric Reid to be an honorable man, somebody that's standing up for the right issues. I applaud, his fervor, his passion about this issue, and I respect where he's coming from. But it's time to put on your big boy pants and get over it. It's very, very predictable to me what's happening to him. Do I believe for 1 second? Do I believe that he has been targeted? Do I believe that people are looking to irritate him to some degree? You're damn right. Would I predict it would have happened? You're damn right. Am I surprised at all? Absolutely not. You, in concert with Colin Kaepernick, are going after the National Football League. Billionaires who were whining and crying about the protest having a negative effect on them when they gained 4.9% in revenue, each got a check for $225 million, still claiming that they're broke. Billionaires who believe that they need the support of elected officials in order to get a part of the sports gambling pie that they believe that the NFL is obviously going to ingratiate itself in and follow, subsequently following the Supreme Court ruling favoring that kind of stuff. They're looking at these guys as costing them money. And I'm sorry, you're surprised or you're taken aback by the fact that you're targeted? Please, you know they're coming.